besides the issue of forests, one of the very early issues that preoccupied me was dams, including dams on the Ganges. They're building so many dams on the Ganges that the Ganges doesn't flow. It's an amazing river that brings life to the subcontinent, the Indian subcontinent. And I want to share with you in my book, Water Wars, which I put in the list of references, small dam building that was always run of the river, and it was like a round river. The water went right back into the river. So we have ancient systems of water conservation, but the water always went back. The new dams are linear, store water, and then they take water somewhere else and forget that this water must flow. So you get waterlogging, you get other problems. But the Army Corps of Engineers is where the dam building, the big giant dam building, was started. And John Withstow, an irrigation scientist with the Bureau of Reclamation, was building the dams. This is what he argued. The destiny, this is the old colonial idea of Bacon, it's the idea of Descartes, it's the idea of all the colonizers. And colonizing nature and colonizing water is deep in it. So he says the destiny of man is to possess the whole earth, and the destiny of the earth is to be subject to it. There can be no full conquest of the earth and no real satisfaction to humanity if large portions of the earth remain beyond his control. Only as all parts of the earth are developed according to the best existing knowledge and brought under human control can man be said to possess the earth. The United States might accommodate in present population within its humid regions, but it will not be the great nation that it is now. And in another book, McKee, chief advisor on water programs to President Roosevelt, says, for Sacramento River, we have the river licked, bent down, shoulders right on the map. Hell, that's what we came up here for. Control, domination. The very interesting thing is not only are Indian rivers treated as sacred, and I think all ancient cultures treat water as sacred, but all rivers are goddesses. There's only one river that comes from from Tibet round through Bengal, through West Bengal, and through Bangladesh. It's called Brahmaputra, the child of the creator. But all other rivers are Ganga, Yamuna, Kaveri. You can just go on the lines. Well, what I love is the 108 names of the Ganges. Beautiful, because the variation of the flow of water is captured in these names. She's, of course, Ganga, but she's also the one who's born foot of Vishnu, the one who's beloved to Shiva, Sindhu Garabgamini, the one who goes towards the ocean, Bhagavati, the one who brings prosperity wherever she flows. And this life and liveliness and life-giving force of water is really not only the power of water, but the life in water. I was in 82, I was asked to do a study on mining in Doon Valley, which is my valley. I was in those days working in Bangalore, and I had just finished a study on how eucalyptus, the monoculture, introduced from Australia, where it's native, and eucalyptus had been brought into India and spread by the World Bank for one pulp factory. The whole region was taken over. My studies showed that it led to disappearance of water, because eucalyptus has a lot of water appetite, but it was being planted in a very, very semi-arid zone. It requires 1,200 millimeters of rain, and that region doesn't get that kind of rain. So the water was being taken out from the tanks that were there, from the neighboring fields of crops. But at that time, I was asked to do a study on mining. So, of course, it was my home, so I accepted the opportunity. And the government was only concerned that the Prime Minister had commented that the mountains, our mountain area is called the Queen of the Hills. And the Queen's being stripped naked. And the bureaucrats responded to that. So they wrote an MOU about how the hills are looking ugly. And I said, no, I won't sign this MOU till I go talk to the women, and give me a week to go village to village, talk to the women, to ask what is the issue of mining. And every woman I talked to said, water, issues water. So we did the study, and sure enough, what the women had said was true, because limestone is an aquifer. It holds water. And our study shows that the aquifer that nature had created in the limestone. When you mine, you destroy that aquifer. And the water economy that aquifer supported was much bigger than the industrial economy that the mining supported. So we did those calculations, we worked out the flows, we did the costs, and that was put forward by the Ministry of Environment to the Supreme Court of India. And the Supreme Court of India, this is a ruling of 1983, famous case of the Doon Valley limestone case from Supreme Court of India. The Chief Justice and his bench said, Article 21 of India's Constitution has a right to life. And says the right to life includes water, the right to water. And any activity that's destroying water is destroying the right to life of the citizens. And the courts ordered the closure of those mines. But it was women's knowledge. Who would have imagined that limestone and water would be an issue? The next big learning I had was when women broke aquaculture prawns. Aquaculture is breeding fish on land. Harvesting fish in the sea is called fisheries. Aquaculture is farming fish. And the women started to break these ponds, shrimp ponds, and cases were filed against them. I was called in to help the women, and I had to do a study for the women to justify, to understand why they were breaking the pond, and then to justify it in the courts. When you take seawater, which is salty, onto the land to grow shrimp as factory farming, you create salinity. That means your drinking water disappears. You're doing it in factory farming, and anything about factory farming, whether it's chicken or beef or cow or shrimp, it requires a hell of a lot of antibiotics because animals are very sick. And all this gets poured on a daily basis back to the sea. But it's the sea where the fingerlings of shrimp are. Destroy the cycle of water and of the shrimp. Long story, that too was banned. And I remember I was doing a public hearing for the coastal communities. And this group of industrialists walked in and said, we got to speak to. I said, no, this is a hearing for the people, not for the industrialists. And they said, we are going to bribe every parliamentarian to undo the decisions that the people are making and the courts are making. Do some research and see. The biggest issue around coastal areas everywhere, destruction of mangroves everywhere, is industrial farming of shrimp and other aquaculture. 2002, I get a call a few days before Earth Day, which is now called Mother Earth Day. And it was from a community in Kerala, in a village called Plachimada. And they said, we want you to come and celebrate Earth Day with us, but we also want your support for our resistance against Coca-Cola. So of course I wanted to celebrate Earth Day, but I also wanted to understand, why would women in a remote valley be fighting Coca-Cola? I've never liked that drink. In 1977, it was shut down because they were caught in corruption, financial corruption, and only with globalization they came back. And Coca-Cola, in effect, steals water. They don't make water. When you buy a bottle of Kinley or whatever it's called in your country, you will see product of Coca-Cola as if they manufacture the water. They just steal the water. And in this particular case, they were mining 1.5 million liters per day, 1.5 million liters per day. But with that kind of mining, you can create a water famine. And the water famine that's created by Coca-Cola or Pepsi-Cola everywhere. I was in Mexico some time back, and they were saying wherever a Coca-Cola plant is there, the water is so destroyed that people have to drink Coca-Cola for quenching their thirst, and obesity is becoming a big issue. Anyway, I arrived. The community was a tribal community. The leader was a woman called Mailama. 100 women and children, 500 policemen to protect Coca-Cola. And I said, they will be wiped out because nobody was covering this news, because Coca-Cola pays for advertisements and for the media. That is a big income. So no newspaper was covering it. I called up a very important politician who was also the owner of a major newspaper in Kerala. And I said, this is happening in your backyard and you must cover it. So he started, and then we built the campaign. And I want to share with you the very, very powerful declaration we prepared. We tied up conferences. We brought everyone in the water movement, the European parliamentarians, José Bové, the French farmer, Maud Barlow, who with me, we built the movement against water privatization together. And let me just quickly share with you this declaration we prepared. Water is the basis of life. It is the gift of nature. It belongs to all living beings on earth. Water is not private property. It is a commons for the sustenance of all. Water is the fundamental human right. It has to be conserved, protected, and managed. It is our fundamental obligation to prevent water scarcity and pollution and to preserve it for future generations. Water is not a commodity. We should resist all criminal attempts to marketize, privatize, corporatize water. Only through these means we can ensure the fundamental and inalienable right to water for people all around the world. And then we specifically focused on Coca-Cola and Pepsi. And we basically created a slogan, Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, quit India. Because quit India was our slogan to get the British out of India. And interestingly, 4,000 schools took this up. And they said, we will not have Coca-Cola in our canteens. We brought indigenous drinks. People had forgotten simple drinks like the lemon, we call it nimbu pani, the lemon drink, or the yogurt drink, the lassi. And they were brought back into the canteens for the children to have healthy food, because soft drinks are a very major reason for the chronic disease epidemic.